Hi, everybody. My name is Zach. I'm with Atlas Agency Launch Lab and Atlas Online Solutions. Um, excuse me. I'm coming to you for hopefully a quick podcast interview style live, trying to provide some value for listeners and get sort of an overall um, uh, feel about whoever I'm bringing on with and see if maybe they can help you. So today I'm with.
Hey, I'm Boyan from Brisk Web Services.
There you go. Who are you from, Boyan?
I am Boyan from Brisk Web Services.
Where are you from?
I am from Serbia and I lived in Canada for over 3 years.
Gotcha. Awesome. Awesome. What's your uh, what's something? Excuse me. What's something about your agency name that makes it uniquely special to you?
Brisk, the name itself, is in general, it means quick, right?
Okay.
So that's basically where it comes from, is quick and efficient. And pretty much that's where I got the name from, is just, quick, efficient web services.
Well, for everything that we we we've seen so far working with you, uh, it, it makes sense and holds true. So that's good. Um,
Yeah.
would you say that you're more of an introvert or an extrovert?
Oh, definitely extrovert. I mean, I mean, from my personal perspective as a person in general, I'm, all spoken out. I like to give people advices. Some people might not like it, but the way I see it is, if I hide it inside of me, then I feel bad if someone wasn't aware of my true impression of whatever it is, right? So I'm definitely the extrovert.
Sure. Would you say that helps or hurts you in this situation?
Oh, definitely helps, especially with my services. For example, SEO. I mean, you have to be honest and direct with them, because if you're not, then they're not going to get the real picture of what's happening, right? So you
Right.
need to be that direct person and say, hey, look, this is what's happening. Whether you like it or not, this is what's happening. You know?
Gotcha. It's got to be outspoken. Sure.
Exactly.
Um,
Exactly.
wh- what got you involved in the digital marketing space?
Um, Originally, I started as just plain coder. I've learned
Okay.
coding 20 plus years ago. And then what happened was, pretty much after about a couple years in, I learned English, and then I got into the content writing. And from then on, it just started booming. And then the digital marketing was just kind of part of it as well. So I was like, hey, I might as well expand my knowledge and expand my services. And that's basically what got me into the whole world of digital marketing in general. So
Gotcha. What was your original language?
Serbian. Well,
Serbian?
Serbo-Croatian, I should say, because I was born in the 80s, when there was still ex-Yugoslavia, well, Yugoslavia at that time. And then when it
Gotcha.
separated, it was different languages, but it's definitely Serbian, what I speak originally.
All right. Um, so, so did you do any sort of uh, coding for a certain company beforehand?
What happened was, basically, no. I started when I was, a 19-year-old lousy teenager who just learned some computer back then, and
Sure.
I started kind of coding for myself. And ever since then, it was always, I mean, I always say to people, did not spend a dime on any marketing. It was always a word of referral.
Awesome.
Whoever likes it, they refer me. And that's pretty much how it started. And then nowadays it's all about previous work. Hey, Boyan knows how to do this. Boyan knows how to do that. His team is doing this. His team is doing that, because I obviously have a team, because right now I'm not able to do it by myself, right? So
Yep.
that's basically how it is. But I mean, you know, I didn't do it for anybody else. I obviously have done it for other people, but not work wise. No.
Gotcha. Okay. So, um, tell us about the transition going from, actually, before I do that, what what'd you do for work for an employer before you get into this?
I used to be in a customer support and
Okay.
customer service. So that's how I got involved in the whole work environment, if I may say.
Sure.
And so that's when I realized how important customers are. And I've been doing it ever since, because, every customer, no matter how small or big they are, they're still customers that need to be appreciated.
Of course. So tell us about that transition going from, who would be like a W-2 employee to being an entrepreneur.
Oh, I mean, just like in every beginning, it is a rocky, hard mountain. And the worst part about, generally, with the whole web development, digital marketing, I'm not sure about others, but for me, it was, especially back 20 plus years ago, was not knowing what's going to happen. You weren't sure whether or not the next month is going to be the same path, the same way.
Sure.
But for me, I just never gave up. I was like, you know what? I know eventually it's going to come. And, one by one, funny enough, I mean, we're having a dialogue right now, but 20 plus years ago, all my referrals were coming from Serbian community in Canada. So, because obviously I didn't know English as
Okay.
much. And as I learned English, it was a challenge for me to keep going and finding more clients, and just, kept going. And then all of a sudden, when a pandemic hit, was when things just started not booming, but exploding,
There you go.
because that's when people realized how important the whole online aspect of the corporation is. And then
For
all of a sudden they're like, oh, Boyan, you were talking about this a couple years ago. Yeah, welcome. How can I help you? You know,
Yeah.
but it was definitely a rocky hard in the beginning. But I mean, let's be honest, who hasn't had a rocky hard? In general, everybody goes through it. So
Yeah. Of course. Do you work with a particular niche or service? Excuse me.
I right now I am most focused in SEO,
Okay.
because as a person myself, and I transferred it into my team, who loves me for that, quote unquote, is I love challenges. I love challenging myself with whatever it is. Website design is great as a project. I love projects as well. When you finish a project, it's like, wow, look, this is what it is. Content writing is where I practiced my English. I mean, bigger words,
Okay.
different niches, different things, right? But SEO is kind of both of those combined, and you're fighting with some of the big apples and big fighters who are also wanting that number one page on Google. So it's the constant updates, constant things. You need to constantly read things. So for me, definitely the niche that I'm focused on is SEO. Is definitely one that I could pretty much, if I can, I could do it, say 90% of my workday in general, just because
Awesome.
of that challenge itself, right?
Yeah. Um, what are you most proud of in your business owner journey to date?
As if I may say, as a business owner, I'm proud of my team. I have to say, there's no I in a team. I would not be able to do it without them. I would not be able to mentally survive, if I may say, because, in some occasions you kind of need someone to say, "Hey, boss, it's okay." Like tap on the back. From the business perspective. From a personal perspective, I'm proud of the fact that during my career, I never missed any birthdays, never missed any school
Nice.
events, and things like that. So, I mean, as some of you guys know from Atlas Agency and Atlas Online Solutions, I am a father of five. I've never missed anything.
Awesome.
Uh, from the personal perspective, what I'm proud of is that the fact that I was able to be there every point of time, and the fact that my wife and children have never been in the situation where, hey, where's dad? Does he have to work? I mean, my family always come first, no matter what. So
Awesome. That's definitely a challenge. If you go back and give your 18-year-old self one piece of advice, what would it be?
keep hustling, buddy.
Just
That's
just
literally
do it.
that's
Gotcha.
all I would say. Don't be afraid. And this is pretty much, I mean, I know probably some young listeners, I say young as if, I'm in my 50s, but, some young listeners are probably going to listen to this. And I got to say, 20 years ago, I was literally the 18-year-old, almost to a day. um, as an 18-year-old, I was not afraid to take a risk and say, you know what, I'm going to start. Just start it. Because the more you think about it, the more obstacles, the more things you write, as in, oh, what's a plus, what's a minus if I start this, if I start it, just start it. And just keep hustling, knowing that everybody else has started the same as you did. Because last time I checked, Bill Gates started from a garage. Where did Facebook guys started? From a dorm room. Everybody started somehow, but
That's
you
right.
have to start from somewhere and just keep hustling. You are going to have some haters. You are going to have some lovers. You're not no, not everybody's gonna like you. I mean, let's be honest.
Of course.
Is my competitor going to like you? No, but is my competitor, and can my competitor get me down if I allow it? But I didn't. So that's
There you
pretty
go.
much what I would say my to 18-year-old myself is just keep hustling. Eventually the reward is going to come through.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. It's all good stuff. What's with excuse me, what is one thing about the space that you didn't expect?
That there's so many quote unquote experts that make it harder for us that are actually in this field for a while uh, appreciate and get appreciated, I should say, or get acknowledged. Because a lot of times when we approach clients, especially from the SEO perspective and from web design, I mean, same thing. Oh, a kid can do it. Well, then, okay. So then have a kid do it. Why are you calling me? Because last time I checked, you called me. I didn't call you. So, I mean, that's the one thing about the digital marketing that I wasn't expecting is so many people calling themselves experts, and yet when you ask them a simple questions about the field, they have absolutely no idea what you're talking about. As I was like, okay, so how are you an expert? Because last time I checked, an expert should teach someone. I should not be teaching you, right? So,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not neglecting, and I'm not saying that someone should not call themselves experts, but you need to kind of watch that word when you say you are an expert. I don't call myself expert, even though I've been in the field for 20 years. Because, like I said earlier, I always challenge myself. There's always things I can learn. There's always things I can do. I mean, even just as simple as SEO, there's always things you can do. So don't call yourself unless you're really an expert in something. I can say that I'm an expert at being a father. That's what my wife tells me, at least. you know.
Yeah. We talked about it before. It's just such a low barrier to entry to get into the space, and it doesn't take a lot of information to sorry, it doesn't take a lot of know how to think that you know what you're doing. And so it's definitely put a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths about
Exactly.
what we do, and in a way that's good and in a way that's bad. It means that we have to kind of prove ourselves more, and it allows people to get burned less, and then it makes us stand out above the crowd. Would you say
I
that
mean,
would
when I
be
had
similar?
sorry for interrupting. When I had a chit chat with your wife Sheena last time,
Yep.
uh, it was the same thing. I mean, when someone calls you for things and they call themselves experts, like you said, it puts a bad apple because then you have to spend your time instead of showing them what things can be done. You have to spend your time, even though you've been around. I mean, I have within my agency, we have over 80 successful cases of SEO.
Awesome.
Do I really need to tell you that I know my SEO? Why am I talking about this? SEO is simply, do you want to be ranked on #1 page in Google? Can you guarantee me #1? No, I'm not going to guarantee. Okay, then I don't want your services. Okay, we're not talking then. Have a good day. Because everybody whoever is expert, they will guarantee them #1 spot. And then what they do is they convince them to buy Google ads, which is totally different topic. But oh, you're #1 position. Oh, okay. And what's going to happen when those Google ads stop? Oh, wait, they're going to call some of the agency, and then we have to convince them that that was a bad decision. So
Gotcha. Yeah.
something.
Um, if somebody wants to get into the space and outsource most of the technical parts, um, what should they start with, and who would you recommend they outsource to?
What should I start with depends on your knowledge
Sure.
when it comes to the fields. For example, in my occasion, I was starting and I started with the web design.
Okay.
Would I recommend starting with the web design? Absolutely, for people that don't know English as a language.
Okay.
And I will say why I'm saying English. What I would highly recommend to people, the steps that they will take is start with as simple as writing a blog. You can open easy WordPress account and start writing. Practice and get people to know your style. Nowadays, you can also open a YouTube channel, but I'm talking from the perspective of my services, what I do for digital marketing side. I will start with the blogging. When you get people to know you, it's very easy to open up a website and just transfer your WordPress database to your website. Someone can do it for you. At that point, people already know you and they will start coming. So your SEO, if properly done, will spike you up to a #1 or #2 page, depending on what your niche is. So that would be my recommendation for people that know English. For people that don't know English, definitely learn SEO because
Oh, you're
SEO
breaking
is
up.
your
There you are.
all-in-one for everything that is really involved. Can you hear me now?
Yeah. The audio is broken, but your face is frozen. You're talking about SEO?
Oh, not sure what happened. Is everything okay now?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yep. Go ahead.
So, pretty much what I would recommend is either start with the content writing and learn as you go, or learn SEO if you don't know English, because you're eventually going to learn everything, and you can easily apply SEO in your own language. I mean, I've seen successful people in different languages, so that would be the recommendation itself.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, it's definitely good hearing from somebody that's not a native English speaker and sort of seeing their perspective on it, because I obviously can't relate. So thanks for doing that. What's the biggest challenge that you're facing right now, and how are you trying to tackle it?
Right now, the biggest challenge that I'm facing is the fact that people still believe in well, no, I shouldn't say still, but people are starting to believe more and more in the AI technology.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure most of the agency owners are dealing with that as a challenge. If they're not, then please let me know how you're not dealing with it, because right now people are basically finding their solutions on their own.
Okay.
Uh, uh, they're, I mean, they can easily just write an article, for example, with a couple prompts here and there. Can they do SEO? They can't. Can they think they can? But it's a lot harder when you have a generated system. See, what people don't realize is back again 20 years ago, there was no robots. You needed to learn as you go. So my biggest challenge is now trying to handle the fact that someone comes up to me and says, "Oh, we can do the article writing ourselves." Okay, but you do realize that people will eventually pick up on the fact that your article is the same as 30 others, because everybody else is probably typing the same keyword. So
Okay.
that's pretty much the biggest challenge right now for me, is the fact of trying to, if I may say, explain to people why they shouldn't depend on AI technology as much as people are starting to depend on it.
Gotcha. Okay. Have you used AI as a tool inside of your own business?
No, no, I use tools that will help me, such as, for example, SEMrush. I use it to get my SEO done. Obviously, I use WordPress as a program for the websites, and
Okay.
Surfer SEO as my tool to help me with content writing. But no, I mean, frankly, we have to be realistic that eventually it is going to come to a point where we're going to accept the fact that yes, AI will eventually, with the tools, start taking over, and eventually people are going to start realizing that we need to kind of adapt to it. But I mean, I'll take it as a challenge to still stick to the old school side.
Gotcha. Gotcha. What what's the most important lesson that you've learned in this space, or at least from it?
You need to believe in yourself.
Okay.
No matter how bad or good the month is, you need to believe in yourself that eventually there is going to be a good month. If something happened, then you just need to keep believing in yourself, because if you don't believe in yourself, definitely, if you have a team will notice it. And if you don't have a team, your family will notice it. So just, you gotta keep believing, and you have to, because at the end of the day, if you don't believe in it, then why are you doing it? I
Sure.
mean, it's as simple as that. If you're not, I mean, I personally would never do some of the jobs. I'm not degrading them. I'm not saying that those are bad jobs, but I would not do them, and I personally wouldn't bother trying them. But I've been in this industry for over 20 years, and I wouldn't change it. If my 18-year-old asks me now, I would still say no.
Awesome. Awesome. What's what what would you say would be the most important personality trait or strength that someone would need to best serve them as sort of an agency head?
Oh, man. I mean, you have to wear a lot of hats. That's
Okay.
pretty much, as an agency owner, as a director, and you need to wear a lot of hats, because at the
Gotcha.
end of the day, you got to be in someone else's shoes. I mean, if that SEO, for example, if my SEO uh, analyst has a bad day, don't be that hard boss. It's like, oh, what happened? Because that SEO analyst might have had a bad day in a family. You don't know, right? So you
Okay.
kind of gotta gotta wear all of those hats, and at the end of the day, that's the joy of it, but also the hurdle that you just have to go through. I mean, you have to be aware that you have to wear a lot of hats. You're not just a director, you're not just a boss, you're not just a team lead. You are a human being who is talking to another human being, and that's what you have to realize, because at the end of the day, you were probably in their shoes down the road. Otherwise, you would not have been where you are right now. I used to be a web developer only. I used to be a content writer. I know how bad it is when someone asks you to rewrite a certain article 15 times. I know how bad it is when someone gives you a database of 5,000 different files that you need to translate as a project. So I'm not
Okay.
going to say, oh, you know what, that's a bad thing. No, come on. I mean, you got to wear a lot of hats. And that's the one thing that I wish everybody does it. And I've heard different stories, but that's the biggest hurdle for me, is that I would like to translate and transfer, I should say, not translate, to everybody, is as a director, you have to be aware of all the hats.
So it sounds like you were describing two different ones. One was to be, adaptable and be able to, fill a lot of different shoes, and then the other one being empathy towards towards other people. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, I mean, you have to, I mean, obviously the work has to be done. I'm not saying don't be a friend if work is not done. But what I'm saying is, when that 5 o'clock hits, you go for a beer because the work is done. That's
All right.
basically be a, I mean, I'm hanging out with some of my team members, but when work needs to be done, I write a professional email to them. I'm not writing, yo, what's up?
Okay.
When we work, we work. When we go out and have fun as a team, we have fun. I mean, that's the joy of it, right? But you have to be aware that for example, if someone has an office, see, I don't have the office, I've never planned to have one yet.
Okay.
But when someone has an office, if someone walks through your office, they need to realize that there's work that is happening. If they're not, then what kind of a professionalism are you giving? But they also need to realize that your workers are not afraid if you're behind their back, right? So that's the one thing. I mean, definitely empathy, teamwork as well. I mean, if my team needs help, if someone is sick, I jump in and help them. No questions. I mean, even though I could easily say, oh, I'll hire someone else or whatever. No, I mean, I jump in and help if it's a minor help, like someone's kid is sick or whatever.
Sure.
We're all, like I said, we're all human beings.
Gotcha. Right. You got to take care of your people.
Exactly.
Who are the three biggest influences in your digital marketing journey?
Influencers from a personal perspective was definitely my wife.
Okay.
The right hand. From the professional perspective, I have followed, still am following, and always learning from Brian Dean, Backlinko, from Neil Patel, the Uber Suggest, and pretty much internet. I mean, I've always found people, but those two particular individuals,
Yeah.
I loved. They've been around forever, if I may say. And, I've always learned from them because, again, that's the other thing too, is despite the fact on how successful people are, those two are actually providing educational stuff, which not a lot of people do. Again, you got to wear a lot of hats, but at the end of the day, you got to be a human being and transfer that knowledge to someone else. So that's why I love those two guys, and I always praise them. I follow them through pretty much ever since I've started the whole SEO side. But yeah, from a personal perspective, like I said, my wife is definitely my right hand as a support, as and someone who's been around with me through rocks and bottoms and through hypes and highs, And
Yep.
those two
Absolutely.
guys are the ones that I always love following through because, again, just the fact that they have enormously successful corporations, forget about agencies, and the fact that they're still many years later giving everybody their own knowledges and stuff is something
Yep.
that I admire.
Awesome. Um, what would be one lesson in entrepreneurship that you learned or somebody taught you that you would think that everybody should learn it at some point in their lives?
I have to ask, is Sheena listening?
Uh,
Because
Possibly as being recorded.
no, no, the reason why I'm saying is because, as many people know, with the wearing different hats, you kind of need to take a break. Sometimes you need to take it and say, okay, what am I doing? I cannot do everything. So that's the one thing that I always tell people, whoever the agency owners are, whatever they do, you need to
Sure.
eventually take a break, take a breather. Almost every day, I have myself at least an hour with my family where I am not doing absolutely anything
Sure.
and I am just, watching Netflix, doing whatever. Yes, as much as I would love to work 17, 18 hours a day, you need to take that break. You need to, breathe in. And I wish I'd done it in the beginning, but I've learned it as I go. And that's the one thing that I will definitely tell everybody. You need to take a break. You need to kind of focus on something else that's not work. Wearing a lot of hats is fine and fun, but sometimes you need to wear that hat where it's called human being.
You gotta have a good work-life balance.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, you have to. Because otherwise what happens is people overburn and then they start not liking what they do. I
Of
wouldn't be in
course.
this industry for 20 years if I didn't like it and if I didn't and still am doing it the same way I've been doing it is I always give myself that family is a priority number one, where no matter what happens, they come first.
Gotcha.
Like I said in the beginning, the fact that I wasn't missing any of their birthdays and things like that is one of my greatest achievements.
Awesome. What what time of day do you get your best work done?
Sorry, I didn't hear you. What?
What time of day do you get your best work done?
Morning.
Morning
I
when you're
am a
fresh?
morning person. Oh yeah, yeah, because what I noticed, and I actually tried that, was when I work at night. Yes, I feel productive because I already finished my day, but then I feel like, oh, everybody's watching movies, everybody's relaxing, and I need to be hyped up and working. Whereas
Sure.
when I get up in the morning, I'm awake, I am rested, and I start. And I'm an early bird too. Like I wake up 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, and I can keep going. I mean, literally now it's what 10:30 here uh, at
Is it?
night, and I'm still
Gotcha.
wired up and going. So then it's something that I've been doing ever since. Like I'm a morning person, definitely.
Gotcha. Um, what other occupation besides? Oh, excuse me. Sorry. What other occupation besides this space would you like to try? Anything fun?
Teacher. I
Teaching.
wanted back when I was grade 8. I wanted to
Okay.
be a math teacher, and so
Interesting.
that was one of those kind of wannabe careers But
Okay.
then I discovered I actually had a car accident when I was 16, 17. I can't remember exactly, but and then I discovered
Okay.
one of the teachers was literally laying right beside me as we were both having massage therapies done, and she was scratching her head. I was like, what's going on, what's happening? And she literally showed me one of the kids' scrabbles, if I may say. It wasn't even handwriting, and she's like, I have to mark this. As I was like, yeah, I'm not being a teacher. Literally, that was my kind of when I discovered. I
That
was
was the
like,
code
oh,
switch.
I'm not doing this. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I thought I'm left-handed. I thought I was bad with my handwriting. But when I saw that, I was like, what in the world is this? and
Yeah.
but kind of as a hidden career. I mean, I to this day, even with my kids, I help them with math and stuff because I
Awesome.
like, and I used to be a dance teacher as well for Serbian
Oh,
folk community back in Canada when I was in Canada. So I mean, I love teaching. I love helping younger kids with whatever I can. I mean,
interesting.
obviously, I don't know science. I'm bad with science, so I can't do that.
Gotcha. Cool. What kind of dance was it?
It's more, how would I say? It's kind of like a Scottish line dancing with the choreography, but it's more kind of like a traditional Serbian folk dancing where they do different dances from different regions of Serbia.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Interesting. Um,
I used to do that. Literally, I started that when I started my digital marketing, which is funny enough, like literally at around the same time. So
gotcha. Cool. Um, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
still where I am. I mean,
Wherever you
obviously,
are. Okay.
with still where I am, I mean, I see myself definitely expanding my agency because I just don't stop. As like I said in the beginning, I'm extrovert. I don't stop and I speak out whatever I want to get done. No, I'm not the guy who is going to go head through the wall without knowing how thick the wall is. But I mean, I see myself definitely expanding my agency to offer different services, to offer more of the services in regards to possibly whatever services come through, and obviously expanding more locations because right now I obviously don't have a specific location, but I provide services for Canada, US, Australia, and Serbia, which is where I'm expanding right now. And what my kind of mission is right now is to expand services in Serbia here.
Gotcha. Okay. Awesome. Very cool. So we're getting to about the 40-minute mark. I don't want to keep this going too long just because I want somebody to actually, see the time and be like, okay, I'll give this a listen and it's not an hour and a half or something or something crazy.
Yeah.
Where can listeners find you online? I'll put this in the
Brisk Web
comments.
Services. If you just type it in Google, my website comes first. My Facebook page, I believe, is second. So I am very active on both of them, as you know. I mean, I would love to help anyone with any questions that they have with whatever service they're interested that I can help them with.
Gotcha.
I've been in this field for over 20 years, so I know people that know people. So if someone needs help with even services that I don't provide, I can also help them and I can find someone that is decent enough that can help them out with it. I mean, I'm here to help anybody with any questions that they have.
Awesome. How can listeners support you and your work?
I mean, you know, uh, definitely with support. I greatly appreciate any feedback people
Okay.
do. I mean, Sheena, you probably know I always ask for feedback because you always learn from everything in your life. So feedback is definitely appreciative, and support, of course. I mean, a pat on the back and saying, "Hey, good job for doing this," is definitely always there. But from support perspective, I definitely appreciate any feedback for any help that can be done. And with even just this video and this live broadcast that we're doing, if there's anything that I can help someone with from the feedback perspective, definitely shoot me a message. Give me 24 hours. I might be busy, but I'll definitely help out.
Great. So I put your website in the comments, and your Facebook page is also going to be Brisk Web Services. Is that?
Yeah, pretty much literally Brisk Web Services. I mean, my website has a dashes in between the words, and the Facebook page is literally Brisk Web Services, 3 words.
There it is.
So,
All right. I put them in there.
yeah, perfect.
Thanks for coming on with me. I appreciate it. Getting to know you a little better, and hearing about your stuff. So I want to keep it short and sweet, and I'll let you go to bed. It's pretty late over there right now.
My night is just starting.
Your night's good for you. My name is Zach with Atlas Agency Launch Lab and Atlas Online Solutions. You can check us out on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube and online and Google and all this stuff. We try to make a lot of good information available to those who may have been burned before. So thanks everyone. Thank you. Excuse me. Something in my throat. Thank you for watching. This is going to be recorded and shared. You can check out Boyan and all his stuff. Hopefully, he can give you a hand with any questions. This can be monitored. If you have any questions, you can throw them in the comments. So, thank you so much, and we'll see you later.